You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the program called The Wonderful World of Wardini Books, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio the wonderful Lou from Wardini Books in Havelock North. How you going, Lou?
Really well, Ken, yourself?
Oh, can't complain. All the better for seeing you. You know that I say that every week, but it's true.
Thank you very much.
And we've got 4 more great books, and the first one, no prizes for guessing what it's about, The Little Kiwi and the Treaty.
It's a children's picture book by Nikki Slade Robinson, and she's used Little Kiwi in lots of books about all sorts of different things. So there's a Matariki one and there's a Hangi one and all sorts of bits and bobs. And this one is to do with a treaty. It's not necessarily our treaty, but it's an allegory for our Treaty of Waitangi. So Little Kiwi and her cousins were talking to their koro, and how come you say you're from up the coast and Kuya, Grandma, says she's from over the mountains? Oh, that's a special story. So whakarongo mai, listen to me and I'll tell you all about it. So he talks about how there was a tribe of Kiwi and they came into the area, and then years later another tribe came from overseas and they wanted to be in this area too. And it's just a really good allegory for what's gone on in New Zealand, and it doesn't make any excuses. It talks about fighting and it talks about one group being there first, but then it also talks about, hang on a minute, we're sick of this, we're sick of fighting, and we need to find a way to get on together. And so it's a really good explanation of how people come to live together peacefully as possible.
I say obviously it's a children's book, but I guess a lot of people would get a lot out of that book.
Yeah,
young
I think
and
so.
old.
Yeah, I think it's a really simple way of explaining something that can be over-explained and quite complicated. And just as an aside, there is a colouring competition that we're running with Nikki Slade Robinson, the author, and she has given us a signed print in a frame. It's an absolutely beautiful piece of art to give away. So anyone between the age of 3 and 10 needs to come and get a colouring sheet from either of our stores and bring it back by the 10th of November, and you could be in to win.
Always something good happening at Wardini Books, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The next one is a great word, and we were talking about words here at work the other day, a bibliophile. That's a great word. What does that mean?
A lover of books. So
really,
me and potentially you, I would say.
Possibly.
Ken.
I'm a lover of comics.
Yeah, well, that's still reading and bookiness. So this is by Jane Mount, and the subtitle is an illustrated miscellany. So miscellany is also a cool word.
It is.
So this one is Jane, the author, was cataloguing books and painted a stack of books. And then people commissioned her to paint their stacks of favourite books, and it just went on and on and on. And she said, since 2008 I've painted well over 1,000 ideal bookshelves, so people have said, oh, this would be my perfect bookshelf. And so she's just made artworks of them, like that one on the front.
That's marvellous.
And so she's collected kids' picture books, and then she'll intersperse it with beloved bookstores around the world. And Unity Books in Auckland is in this one, which is good. Wardini Books isn't, but I'm presuming that's going to be in the follow-up.
No.
So, and then she's got...
Silly woman.
Oh, she did, yeah. And then she's got bookish people recommending things, so librarians and people around the world, writers, recommending their favourite books, which she's also painted and illustrated, and then writing rooms, so like Jane Austen's room or Thoreau's room in which they wrote, and more beloved bookstores, and just all sorts of brilliant bookish things. And the thing that I really like this is it's not all Pride and Prejudice or 1984, or the books that people always talk about. Some of them are really modern, so just flicking through it, you've got Nigel Slater's Kitchen Diaries, you've got, they're all foodie ones that I don't know about. On here you've got The Martian by Andy Weir, and that's a really new one, and some of the kids' books are really new, so it's not just all about the old stuff, it's celebrating all books, really good modern ones too.
Great coffee table book.
Oh, it's fabulous. I think you just, if you have people around and you've got that on the coffee table, you won't have to talk to them.
Give me 2 copies. You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the wonderful world of Wardini Books. We have Lou in every week reviewing 4 of the latest books. The next one's bound to give everyone a bit of a laugh. Shit Towns of New Zealand.
We're courting controversy here, Ken.
Yes, we're swearing on it.
Oh dear, it's terrible, terrible. So this is based on the hugely popular Facebook page of the same name. And when we were being sold this book by the rep from Allen and Unwin, she was saying, pretty sure she was saying, like, the authors of it can't identify themselves because they've had so much flack, because no town is spared, so everybody's in it. So Napier and Hastings are in it.
Really? A weird?
Yeah, I know. So which would you like first, Hastings or Napier?
Oh, I live in Napier. Give me that one last.
Okay, I won't give you all of it because some of it is really quite offensive. population 63,100, founded 1851. Iconic landmark, pioneer of the reef, a cheap knockoff of Copenhagen's Little Mermaid. So that's the least rude thing on that page. And then Hastings, most famous person. It's a toss-up between boat people Caroline and Georgina Evers Swindell, or the woman who made headlines in 2004 for breastfeeding her puppy, which is gross and offensive. And those are actually the but yeah, some of it you read through. Oh, Danny Verk's in there, and they are quite hilarious.
I wonder what they would say about Waro. What do they say about Waro?
Can I just read you this Danny Verk bit? It's quite funny. Danny Verk is one of the only places in New Zealand where you can buy second-hand dentures.
Oh, really? That makes me want to vomit.
It's quite bad. Let me flick through and see if Waro's in here. Oh, I don't know. That would be East Coast, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Oh, no, it's only got Gizzy. It's got Gisborne, Napier and Hastings.
That's okay. That would be a very popular book, I might suggest. Great Christmas present.
I think it's quite funny. But apparently the authors have had death threats.
Really?
So, yeah. Some people taking it really seriously.
Oh, no, you can go too far.
Little.
And our last book is called Our Homesick Songs. What's that all about?
This is by Emma Hooper, and it's set in Newfoundland, top of Canada, in 1992. And what happens is you've got families living there, and they've lived there for years. They seem to be mostly Irish immigrants from way back in the day. And all the fish vanish. And there are little indicators of why, because the kids will be out rowing and they'll be like, man, that's a big boat. I've never seen a boat that big before. So you've got commercial fisheries coming in. And little Finn is only 10, and he's just seen families leave and then more families leave, and he's seen the green notices that turn up in people's letterboxes, which is the big commercial fishing companies telling people to get out, really. So his mother and father have no more work. His mother is a fishing net maker, his father is a fisherman, and they have to find work on mainland Canada, and they go 1 month and 1 month about. So the parents meet each other at the ferry and say goodbye again, and the other one goes and the other one comes back to look after the kids. And Cora, the sister, who's 13 or 14, just goes and uses all the other emptied houses, and she makes countries in them. So she's got a Mexico house, and she's got a whatever it is house, and somebody's at the door and invites Finn in eventually to have a look at them. But because so many people are leaving, Finn is desperate for the fish to come back so his family can be back together. So it is really about him finding out the story of how his parents met through an old lady who lives very isolated with they've switched her electricity off for a start. And he's just getting all these beautiful songs from her because she teaches him the accordion, and getting all the old stories about how everyone came to be in this part of Newfoundland, and trying to get his family back together and save the day. And it is the most beautifully written, gorgeous song, so atmospheric, because it's so cold up there too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
Good ending?
Yeah.
Without giving any spoilers?
Yeah.
Now, I probably had a different interpretation of what that book might have been about, but you're not from here, and we can tell from your accent I'm not from here. I wonder, is there a song have you got a homesick song that reminds you of home?
I can't think of one offhand. I don't get homesick for England at all.
You don't miss it?
How about you? Have you got a homesick song?
Well, I have actually. It's a silly song. It's called "The Code of Love" by Mike San.
Can you sing it for us?
No, I could sing it for you, but you'd laugh at me, so I'm not going to now. Oh no, you made me embarrassed.
Results.
That's right. Now, if you want to get any of these great books, where are Wardini bookstores?
We are 16 Tomato Road in, oh my God, I only said Long Eaton, which is where I was born.
You are
what you've done to me. 16 Tomato Road, Havelock North, or 44 Hastings Street, Napier.
As always, our pleasure, Lou. You look after yourself. We'll talk at the same time, same place next time.